Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Living with Sin. It's your girl Sin, and here's where we feel sensational inside and out. I hope that you're having a sensational day. I know that I am because I woke up in London. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Oh my god, before we start this video, I've been wanting to tell you about this song. It's a really old school song, and there's so many songs that I feel like I want to tell you, but this song in particular just goes into like the transformation and everything, like following the dream. It's called I believe Impossible Dream. uh Andy Williams. Sorry, I had to make sure that that was the name of the song and the name of the artist. But it's an old school song, and it just talks about following the impossible dream, to follow the star that's so high above that you can see it but you feel like you can never reach it until you do. It's just a beautiful song. Go check it out. Again, keep in mind, I'm an old school person. I like oldies music, so definitely like a 60s vibe, old, like oldies, warm 60s vibe, maybe 70s, I don't know, 50s maybe. But this video, I'm actually, before I go, before I start, I'm also going to Linden Hall Markets. I actually got hit up by the person I was sitting next to the plane with. So that was random, and I'm like, I manifested that in the other video, and this is perfect because this is talking about manifestation. And yeah, they miraculously just hit me up like, hey, what are you doing? You want to go here? And I'm like, sure. So it's perfect. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, I always had the dream to move across the country. And in this desire, I started to look up, how can I get a visa? How can I do this? How can I do that? And as this was happening, I ended up meeting my previous relationship. And it was an amazing feeling. It was just like love at first sight. It was beautiful. He's a beautiful man, a beautiful soul. I have nothing bad to say about him, by the way. This is not like juicy in a way that it's so bad. No, this is juicy in a way of how someone could liberate you, or bring out the liberation within you. Let's say it like that. In the past, I feel like my past 3 relationships, I dated my mom, I dated my dad, and I dated myself. And I know it sounds weird, but it was just the reflections that I needed to see of the old versions that I was holding on to, and which created the person that I am today, the real truth. Okay, the true Cynthia. And I know that you guys know me as Sin, but my name is Cynthia. I'm the founder of Living with Sin. And I'm also going to create a video of why I chose Living with Sin and why I created it, which is another beautiful story. So stay tuned for that. But with this relationship, it inspired me without him even trying. It was a long distance relationship. I met him when he was on holiday, as we call it here. And it was an amazing time. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? I have a passport, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to book a ticket. So I booked a ticket for 2 weeks. This was back in August, and I had such an amazing time with him. Things came up, obviously, like when you're face to face, things came up, and it really like taught me about myself and where I was. You know, when you think that you are evolving, and I was, but I feel like maybe I knew about these things, but I'd never really addressed them. And eventually, like when I had left, it was really hard. It was harder actually, because we like were so intentional up to that moment, and like being ripped away, like ripped apart from someone like that, like it's really heartbreaking. But you know, although it's like, it's not really breaking, it's stretching open the heart. Like I really felt like I was pulling away, but it was really expanding me in both ways. But going back home, I just felt like I was putting myself back into the shell that I was trying to get out of. So it pushed me harder. Like I was like, okay, God, universe was putting me in a solitude, isolation, focus on the desire. I just wanted to come to London. I wanted to find out how to be with him and all these things. And then we ended up breaking up. And, you know, it was getting to a point where it was overwhelming. And I understood, like, why. I also understood, like, what I was putting into it, like, I saw everything from an ego's point of view, you know, like, my part, his part, it just wasn't flowing anymore like it was. And so I understood why we broke up. And he was like, he's like, I just feel like I don't love myself right now, and I can't love anyone else, you know? And I totally understand that. And that actually made me realize that I didn't love myself either. And that I needed to start pouring into myself and not worry about others. And I feel like that is why I went in, like, that whole thing happened as I was going into the solitude. And I needed to start to love myself, to pour into myself, to nurture myself, to, like, actually hear my higher self, to speak to me, having a closer relationship with God, you know, really being aligned with the universe, and just being in solitude, you know, protecting my peace, being in this bubble, creating boundaries, you know, and realizing what is mine and what isn't. Like, it was so necessary, and that's what cracked me open. But even before this, and when I met him, he inspired me so much. Because before him, like, I had these friendships that were based off of the old versions of me, and that was like the last bit too of that I was releasing. You know, they would just want to drink or garden, as we say a lot, and that was the old me, you know, like, I don't do that stuff anymore. And so I just felt like I was going back into that. And once you have awareness, like, it doesn't matter. Like, once you have awareness, you can't go back. You can't unsee or unfeel what you've already felt and seen. You will continue to feel this way, and it will continue to bother you, continue to eat you up inside. If you keep going back and you stay there, you will suffer for the rest of your life. I can guarantee that. So, and I don't wish that upon anybody, but, you know, the suffering is the wrong direction. That's what suffering is, the wrong direction. But he inspired me, and I just stopped talking to these people. And, you know, I knew that they would get upset, and I had my own reasons. I started realizing who these people really were in my life, and that I was no longer resonating with these people. And I knew that my growth wasn't resonating with them either, because of how they would talk about me and stuff like that. And I'm just not with that, you know. Like, your real friends or true friends are the ones that are gonna, like, uplift you and be on, you know, they live with purpose, they're pure, they're light, you know. I just didn't feel that way with them, so I broke up with them too, you know, in a way. And maybe, you know, like, sometimes I think, okay, maybe I should have, like, told them something, but at the same time, I feel like my whole life I've over-explained myself, and I feel like silence is honestly an answer within itself. Silence is, like, the biggest. Even if you require, like, you want a response from somebody so bad, you can't control anybody, and you don't need validation from anybody. The silence is enough. So that going into the relationship, I was already breaking off. You know, it was like he walked into my life and everything just started coming off. I started seeing myself, because I was dating myself, and like, all the wounds, everything was coming up in a beautiful way. And after we broke up, I still felt in my heart, like, I was like, okay, I was like, maybe he just needs space right now. I feel like, you know, our connection's so real. Maybe he just needs the space, and we will connect again, you know. So I had booked the ticket. But then after a while, I was like, this wasn't for him. It was for me the whole time. It was for me to follow my dreams. It was the catalyst to follow my dreams, the liberation, cracking me open, cracking all these things, like these old wounds, the last bit of the wounds, to empty out so I can be filled with pureness and light. And yeah, the best relationship ever. But yeah, I felt like, what was I gonna say? I felt like I had to let go of the old version of myself that loved him, because that old version was the last piece that needed to go. She was a part of the abandonment wounds and, you know, the ties that I had with my mom and things like that. So, and like just old identities, like that were part of that abandonment wound, you know, it's like a branch, like a leaf, a root of all these things. And so that's why the relationship was so beautiful, and that's how I got here to London. But it doesn't end here in London. This is just the first stop, you guys. Because once you expand, he expanded me, you know? The fact that he was even from London and all these things, like, across the country, when I was already, like, desiring to get to the other side, is such a beautiful thing. And I'm just so grateful that I met him. And, in the previous video, I said how, like, the place that I was getting was right next to, like, in his town, and I felt like I was gonna bump into him. I'm just so happy, like, how everything happened the way that it did, because I don't want to bring the old version back to where I'm at now. I feel that right now I feel like, and Jadina, like, she's a person that I follow here on YouTube. She's such a beautiful soul, such an angel. She says something very, very resonating and it like really stuck with me. Like, as you're like when you're in rebirth, right? You're fragile, you're a baby. You're like clay, you're like wet cement. So right now, anything that you're putting into your body, anything you're consuming or you're surrounding yourself with, is what you're forming into. So, sorry, someone's calling me. So, is what you're forming into. So obviously, you want to be the person that you envision, like your highest version, right? You're the new version, and you want to stay that way. So you cannot interact with old versions. You know, it's easy to morph into those things. You know, if you think about it, we're the reflection of animals. Like a butterfly discombobulates itself into a whole nother thing, anything really. So when you think about it, that's kind of like who we are too. So it's insane, like, when you really think about it. Then we can go deep. I can go deep in convo all day, but I don't really have much time. I actually gotta go soon, so excuse me. But this relationship, I just wanted to share that it cracked me open in such beauty. It showed me the potential of what real love is. It showed me who I was at that time and who I am right now, because he showed me the loving part of me, but he also showed me the parts that were still lingering. And I say that with love. And we genuinely, like, have so much love for the relationship and what it brought us, and a lot of appreciation. So it's not like we ended on a bad note or anything. I really wish him well, and a lot of love and prosperity. Nothing but the best. What else was I gonna say about this? So yeah, that's why you can't, like, be drinking and stuff. Like, you're fresh, you're new. Sorry, I just ate nuts. I feel like I have a nut in my mouth. Stop being nasty. We're angels here. But if this video resonated with you, like, if you had someone in your life that was your catalyst, that cracked you open, that, you know, brought you closer to yourself, put closer to home, because that's what I feel like. I feel like my relationships were puzzle pieces that brought me back to my wholeness, and he was the last puzzle piece. And it's insane too, because he used to say, you're like the puzzle piece to my heart, you know. And I'm just like, that's so interesting, because I feel like now I look at things, I'm like, you were the puzzle piece to me, like my wholeness, to find myself, my way back home. So I'm very, very, very appreciative, very grateful for meeting someone like him, his angelic self, and for being here, to be able to be led here, and not just here, but here, right? But anyways, I hope that you're having a sensational day. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next wave. I love you so, 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 so much. Don't forget to join the Ripple movement. where we touch hearts one ripple at a time. And now we're doing it worldwide. So it's bigger than you think. I love you. Have a good day.